welcome to Blissful Monkey. We're excited to have you on this snowy April morning. I can't believe it. So in that spirit of things, we are going to get warm quite fast this morning, but it'll still be a slow flow. So enjoy. Thanks for joining. So we'll start at the top of our mat. Begin to ground down through the soles of your feet. Close your eyes. Connect with your breath. And just begin to spin your palms forward so that you can begin to find a gentle broadening through the collarbones and opening through the chest. And as you do that, start to ask your low belly to engage in and up, your Uddiyana Bandha. And find a balance between a subtle engagement and still allowing for the capacity for your ribs and tissues to expand fully and soften as you breathe. Letting go of any tension you might be holding in your neck, your jaw, your forehead, shoulders, back, hips, knees, ankles. Your next exhale, side out completely. Inhale, hands to heart center. Set an intention for your practice. Another deep inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. And as you exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. This time, as you exhale, double stacking the arms for a hug, like an eagle variation. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the elbows, lift the arms. And as you exhale, forward fold, find elbows in belly. Maybe at thought. Head hangs heavy. Pressing through your feet. Inhale up. Reach the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, change the stacking of your arms for a hug. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Hug it in. Squeeze everything together. Your next inhale, sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back, plank pose. Pause here. All 10 fingers spread wide. Hollowing out through the tummy. Finding that buoyancy. Activating through your heels and top of head. Shift the shoulders forward. On your exhale, drop your knees. Chin, chest, elbows. Inhale, baby cobra. Baby up dog. Take a gentle opening. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Lower down. Inhale, scoop the chest up and through, broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, child's pose. One more time. Inhale, tabletop, shift shoulders. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, child's pose or downward facing dog. A big inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Inhale, lift your right leg. Keep your hips square. Fire on through your tummy, through your midline. As you exhale, knee to nose. Step the right foot between the hands. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, very slowly lower your left knee to the floor. Inhale, lengthen spine again. Exhale, twist it out. So you can come onto your back knee or stay high, your choice. Inhale through center. Exhale, release your left knee to the floor, hands inside the right foot. Heel toe the right foot out just a little bit. Beautiful, breathe here. Inhale, right arm lifts towards the sky. Open through the chest. So we're gonna start to do some back bending today. So really focus on expanding through your collarbones, squeezing your shoulder blades together, that harmony between our front body and back body. Begin to draw your left heel towards your hip. Reach back, quad stretch. Take a gentle quad stretch to start your practice. You might need to give your hips more space by heel toeing that right foot out a little bit more. If you're at home, put your left hand on a block, a book, a can of soup. Breathing here. The next couple of inhales, bring the air right into that quad. Feel the tissues loosening. One more big inhale. As you exhale, release the foot, release the right hand. Curl the left toes under, plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Lift hips high, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, left leg lifts, keep the hips square, tone through your tummy. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot between the hands. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen spine. As you exhale, slowly lower the right knee to the floor. Inhale, lengthen spine. Maybe come off your back knee or stay high. Twist it out. Inhale through center. As you exhale, knee to floor, hands inside the left foot. Take a moment. Prepare the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, left arm lifts. Take a twist. You can see Terry grounding down through her right hand. All fingers are spread so that she can support an opening through the chest, an engagement through the back, and reach back for your right foot, quad stretch. Saturating the quad muscle with your inhales, letting go through the muscle with your exhales. Release the foot. Step back, plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg. Bend the knee, peel open the hip. Squaring off your shoulders, off your hips. Keep that right leg nice and high. As you inhale, keep your right leg high, shift your shoulders forward into plank. Scoop your chest up and through, keep the leg high, keep the hips high. Release, downward facing dog. One more time, inhale, scoop the chest up and through, shoulders shift forward. Shift back, downward facing dog. This time, as you inhale, shift forward, you might drop your right foot or keep it high, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bend your knee, peel open your hip. Squaring off your shoulders and hips. As you inhale, shift your shoulders forward, scoop your chest up and through, leg and hips stay high. Push back, downward facing dog. Inhale, scoop chest up and through. Downward facing dog. Your choice. As you inhale, you shift forward into a plank variation. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. The feet meet the hands, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. With your right hand, pat yourself on the back. The left hand comes to the right elbow. A Gomukhasana arm variation. Again, engage through your bandhas, your pelvic floor lifting in and up, your belly button lifting in and up, and create a little bit more of an Ujjayi breath through the throat. You might start to lift the sternum, lift the ribs up and away from the hips towards the wall in front of you. Press your head into the back of your right arm. With this arm variation, hinge at hips, forward fold. Yeah, shake it out. Release the hands to the floor. Your inhale brings you back up. As you exhale, pat yourself on the back with your left hand. The right hand comes to your left elbow. Create a little bit more space. Exhale, hinge at hips, forward fold. Release your hands to the floor. Inhale, flat back. Find your flow. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, warrior one pose. As you exhale, interlace fingers behind the low back or grab elbow to elbow. Again, tone through the tummy as you broaden through the chest and shoulders. Humble warrior. Exhale, round the spine, head gets heavy. Keep the right hip crease drawing back. Active through both legs to support this pose. And even though the head is heavy, there's an uplift of energy through the soles of the feet, through the hips. Keeping your arm bind, inhale back to your warrior one. Spin onto your back toes, airplane pose. In airplane pose, our chest is higher than our hips. We're really using our back body to keep that lift, that broadening. And now begin to transition to warrior three, lengthening through the spine. Shoulders finding the same height as our hips. Dialing the left hip a little more towards the floor. Lengthening, strengthening through your right standing leg. Inhale, squeeze your left knee to your chest. Extend your left leg long in front of you. Warrior 3. One more time, you can do it. Find your transition. Land lightly, Warrior 1 pose. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands behind the back. One more humble warrior. Rolling the shoulders, finding that space. And on the exhale, round through your spine. Release your hands to the floor. Left hand, inhale, right arm lifts for a twist. Try to stay grounded through the back of your left foot. Beautiful. Keep drawing that right hip crease back. Nice, beautiful. Now start to spin onto your left toes. Maybe find a side plank. And even here in your side plank, how broad can you become through the chest? Really allowing and inviting that right arm to float back behind you while staying toned through the tummy. Your next exhale brings you through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Inhale, Warrior 1, left side. Exhale, interlace fingers behind the back. Exhale, round out, humble warrior. Both legs active, head is heavy. Left hip crease draws back. Come back to your intention. Soften the nature of your thoughts. Soften the flow of your breath. With your hand bind, inhale, Warrior 1. Airplane pose. Keep the back bending action here in your airplane. Warrior 3, lengthening through the spine. Inhale, right knee to chest. Extend the right leg long. You can do it. Lift the leg a little higher. Terry's Own Medicine right here, front and center. Step back through Warrior 3. And then to Warrior 1 pose. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, interlace fingers behind the back. Roll the shoulders. Find any hand variation. As you exhale, humble warrior. Unwinding through the hands, right hand plants, inhale, left arm lifts. Stay pressing through the outside edge of that right foot. Spin onto your right toes. Light through your left foot, side plank. Left arm starts to begin to extend back behind your midline, keeping your ribs knit. Your next exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Inhale, look forward, Utkatasana, chair pose. Settling in. Sit down a little lower. Find mountain arms here, arms by your side, palms spin forward. Broaden through the chest. Staying here low in your chair, hinge at your hips as the chest drops forward, airplane arms. You might be sagging through your low back. Draw your tailbone back, low belly in and up. Light through the left foot as you extend the left leg back behind you. And as you extend your left leg, you might be ready to find your foot for a quad stretch with one hand or two. Maybe you're not quite ready yet. That's okay. Finding your airplane variation. If you're here in your airplane variation with a quad stretch, see if you can bring your left knee back into your midline. There, beautiful. Breathe here. The left foot lands next to the right, chair pose. Big inhale. Exhale, hands down by your sides, mountain arms. Begin to hinge at your hips, find your airplane arms. Light through the right foot. As you extend that right leg back behind you and extend tall through the left leg, you might find your right foot. An airplane variation. Chair pose, land lightly. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Heel toe the feet a little wider. Find a yoga toe lock, or maybe you already begin to find a different variation. Even here in your forward fold, explore your lift of your pelvic floor, the lift of your belly button, the gentle constriction through the throat for your ujjayi breath. These energetic locks that can really help support our physical yoga practice, our breathing practice, our meditation practice, and even sitting in a desk all day working from home. Release your hands to the floor. Very slowly, inhale, roll up to standing. Sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. As you exhale, step the left foot back, low runner's lunge. Pause here, a nice long stance between the right heel and the left knee. And wherever you are, take your variation here of knee down lunge. We're really just looking to open through the front of that left leg, that left hip flexor, connecting through the abs. So you might start to find a back bend. And remember, as we back bend today, we're not dumping into our low back. Sort of in the spirit of Seinfeld, we're lifting from our bra or bro strap up. That's where the back bend happens. In our upper half, between the shoulder blades, an expansion through the sternum. And as we find our quad stretch, you might be ready for same hand, same foot, or you might like to change and take what we did before, right hand, left foot. And wherever you are, see if you can begin to square your chest towards the front of your mat. That buoyancy still exists through the hips. We're still here. We're still breathing. Leveraging our breath as a cue of where we are in our practice. Maybe we're in the perfect spot. Maybe we've gone too deep and need to back off. Maybe there's more room to explore. One more big inhale. As you exhale, release the foot, release the hands inside the right foot. Step back, tabletop pose. Couple cat and cows. Maybe you turn your fingers towards the knees. A little bit of spinal movement connected with the breath. We'll start to find our neutral tabletop pose when we're ready. Curl your toes under, hollow through the tummy, and just hover your knees off the floor. Beautiful. Terry's showing an uncurled toed option. So now her toes are curled, or you can totally press through the tops of your feet. It's a nice way to change the sensation in the pose. Gently lowering your knees to the floor, making sure your knees are wide enough for a strong foundation as we find Anahatasana, heart-melting pose. So again, here's the bro strap up philosophy without dumping into our low back. So we're keeping our hips fairly over our knees. And first, you'll just start coming onto your forehead. Beautiful. Then, if your chest is fully flush with the floor and weight bearing, maybe you tent up onto your chin. Then you might also tent onto your fingertips. So our abs are still engaged. They're still supporting us here in this posture. Breathing here. Two more deep inhales and exhales. Now, how to come out of this pose. Sometimes it feels nice to scoop forward into Sphinx pose and back to child. Sometimes it feels nice just to go right to child's pose. But take a few cycles of breath here. And we'll all arrive in a child's pose. Roll the forehead side to side once you arrive. Come back to your intention. And we'll inhale to our tabletop and step our left foot forward, knee down lunge. Again, create that long distance between the heel of the left foot and the right knee. Exploring this pose however you'd like so that you can lengthen through the right hip flexor, through the front of the right leg, and how that connects to the abdominal muscles, to the front rib muscles. Stay buoyant through your hips, lifting up through your bandhas, those energetic locks. Noticing the transition and evolution of your breath. And then we'll begin to soften a little bit more into this pose. As we begin to plot our entry into a supportive quad stretch, same hand, same foot, or perhaps that left hand will reach back and bring the right hand to the floor, opposite hand, opposite foot. Through the breath, inviting rejuvenation and a surrendering into your right quad. It's one big old muscle group. So give it time to find ease. Three or so more inhales and exhales here. Beautiful. And Terry's showing how it's great to customize and adapt your practice side to side, day to day, moment to moment. We'll gently begin to release our quad stretch. We'll step back to our tabletop pose. Another Anahatasana. So our knees find a strong foundation. As we exhale, the heart melts to the floor. First, coming onto your forehead. Then the chest might melt fully to connect with the earth. The chin might tent. The fingertips might tent. Three more slow and nourishing inhales and exhales here. After your third cycle of breath, there's no rush. We'll all meet in our Sphinx pose. And here in our Sphinx, when you arrive, we have two options today. Either to stay more in this yang, this active variation of Sphinx, or there's a yin option where you can begin to feel the shoulder blades come together as the head goes heavy towards the earth. So there's a little quote-unquote collapsing happening between the shoulder blades. And maybe you move with your breath and oscillate in between those two spaces. We'll all meet here in the active version of Sphinx. This is where you might stay. You might start to come to the palms of your hands, walking your hands back towards your hips for a little bit of a deeper back bend. Maybe you start to fire and press through the tops of the feet, activate through the quads. Squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit more together, broaden through the chest, the collarbones a little bit more. Exhale, slowly lower belly all the way to the floor. Stack the palms, crocodile pose, rest the forehead on the backs of your hands, and just sway your hips side to side. Maybe a gentle windshield wipering of the legs, but on an intermittent setting, so that you can really feel the release through slow and intentional movement. It's always a fascinating observation when windshield wipering the legs is offered to see sort of the speed and the veracity for which students choose to move, really mostly unconsciously. So bringing that opportunity to be conscientious of the intention behind your movement. You might like to just stay here, or you might like to begin to find a back bend on your belly. So we'll start with our locust pose. So the arms will begin to go down by your sides. First, we'll spin the palms to the floor. We'll squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the shoulders and forehead off the chest, keeping the hands grounded. Draw your tailbone towards your heels. Maybe the feet start to hover. Then the arms might begin to hover too. You might sway a little bit with your breath. If you're really feeling ready, you might bend those knees and find bow pose right away. But we'll have another option to back bend here on our belly. And so you can see that with each inhale and exhale, Terry's doing a little bit of a natural rocking back and forth. Invite that natural movement. One more big inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release back to crocodile pose. Another swaying of the hips or a gentle windshield wipering of the legs. And we'll start to find our second back bend here on our belly. Lots of options. Sphinx pose, we've already been there. Locust pose, we've already been there. Bow pose might now become part of your practice, where you reach back for both ankles. And even though you're pulling the heels to your bum, you're kicking the feet away as well. So there's an equal and opposite. Maybe you see if you can walk your hands a little bit farther towards your knees. Yeah, maybe you even draw your knees a little bit more towards your midline. Really asking those shoulders to get into the game. And inhale. And exhale, release. Press back with a knees together child's pose. Our knees together here in our child's pose gives our low back an opportunity to find space and surrender. It might feel nice to bring your arms down by your sides or keep them above your head. Deep inhale. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Feeling each vertebrae, finding more space in between through the inhale. And a softening on the exhale. We'll find our tabletop pose. Knees will be hip width apart. And we'll thread our needle. So on our inhale, our right arm lifts. And on our exhale, we thread through. So I know in my practice lately, I've been noticing that I really just sort of use the compensation of my hips and my neck to quote unquote be in this twist. So this morning, I really encourage you to tune into the space in your rib cage and really see if you can explore having that space become the space that's twisting here in this pose. And that connection between drawing back of your left hip crease and the scooping underneath you of that right shoulder. And then perhaps there can be a little bit more of a stacking of the left shoulder on top of the right. And here in our thread the needle, there's lots of variations. And so exploring the one that works for you. Lift your belly and its contents back into your abdomen. A subtle engagement through the bandhas. Our left palm will begin to find the floor so that on our next inhale we can press through the left hand as we inhale, sweeping our right arm back up. Exhale, release to tabletop. Either go right into the second side or take a moment to unwind before threading the needle on the left. Again, experiment with where the twist is coming from on this side. The right palm reconnects with the earth. And on your next inhale, press through as you sweep your left arm up. Release to tabletop pose. Shake it out. Now, knowing that we have more back bending coming up in our future, we're going to offer an attempt on formidable as well as bridge or wheel. So knowing that information, you might just like to find a child's pose, or you might like to come up onto your shins and knees and take a camel pose or a camel variation, where you might just reach one hand back to the heel and move with your breath. You would inhale to center and exhale, release to the other heel. Or, as Terry's showing, she's pressing her hips forward. That pressing of her hips forward is constant in this pose. She's lifting from her upper back. If she wanted to bring her heels closer to her hands, she could have always curled her toes under. Beautiful. Hands can come to heart center in any variation. And as she comes up, she uses her tummy. And we'll all meet in another knees together child's pose if you're not already there. For everyone tuning in, just imagine that my warm palms are pressing on your hips very gently. And you're having just a really nice reground and letting go sensation. Your next inhale is long and deep. And your exhale lets go completely. We'll meet in our downward facing dog. This is sort of the last big hurrah before we bring it down to the floor for the rest of our practice. So just as we did in the beginning of class, we're going to inhale our right leg. Terry's going to demonstrate the phases and options, and of course, being safe and letting the ego go depending on where you are in your physical practice. So from here, we might just scoop the chest up and through. The shoulders shift past the wrist, the hips and legs stay high. That might be perfectly perfect. Maybe from here, she might try to bend her elbows like she's going into a three-legged chaturanga. Maybe she presses all the way back up. Maybe her left leg comes to meet her right and she's in her formidable pose. So her triceps are supporting her sides of her waist and she's on her chin. You might come through your sun salutation flow and come back to downward facing dog. So lots of phases, lots of stages, lots of ways to explore. And especially noticing how the body has shifted from the beginning of class to this point. So now on the left side, you might just find this high plank variation. You might find a half a chaturanga and a press back up. You might find formidable pose. So now Terry will demonstrate her formidable pose. And there's a key to keeping a bit of momentum. Every side is different. Exactly, playing around. Maybe you have the energy and you give it one more shot of any variation. Now she's in the hot seat. Beautiful, a perfect, formidable preparation demonstration. Downward facing dog. Big inhale. Exhale. We'll find the floor in our child's pose. This time, student choice, either a knees together child's pose to continue to bring space and opening to our low back, or perhaps knees wide for a little bit more of a back bending option. Maybe there's some cat and cows. But taking these next, taking your time in these next few moments to unwind your body. Tapping into that intuition. And as we extend all the way onto our belly, come to the very, very edge of the right side of your mat. So come onto your belly, shifting all the way over to the right side. You might even scooch a tiny bit off the right edge of your mat. You'll see why in a moment. Extend your arms out above you. Start to lift legs, chest, forehead, and arms off the mat. Now see if you can roll onto your back, keeping your legs and arms and head off of the floor. Yeah. Press your low back into the floor, tone through your tummy. Can you start to bend your knees towards your forehead, reach your arms towards your legs? Yep, beautiful. Maybe that brings you to a rock and roll Navasana boat pose. Beautiful. We'll have an opportunity to recenter on our mat in just a moment. And now as Terry rocks onto her back, she's going to reach for her feet or ankles and find Paschimottanasana, double-legged forward fold, but on her back. So this is a great way to release through the spine, especially that mid-back hunch, that computer hunch that we typically form through all of our use of technology, but that now we've asked to open through this class. So there might be a very gentle rolling back and forth, just to sort of work out the spine. I know normally I get a little bit of a popcorn sensation and sound through the mid-back in this pose. but really take a moment and enjoy this. And of course, this might always transform to plow pose, but not required. Maybe if you're still in reclined Paschimottanasana, it might transition to a happy baby. Again, I'm your guide, and it's up to you to really ensure that the practice is serving you today. And we'll very slowly make our way onto our back. You might pass through a full body stretch. You might just say, wow, I'm ready for my feet to come to the floor, my heels close to my bum, preparing for our last back bend of our practice. There will be two options to take. You might find a bridge. Terry will demonstrate the variation of bridge where she's walked her shoulder blades together, has interlaced her fingers. And there's still a pulling of our tailbone towards our knees so that our low back can find length and we can find overall balance between the engagement of the muscles to support us here. One more inhale and exhale. We'll slowly lower down. Take the feet nice and wide, the knees knock in towards each other, hands come to the belly. Your drishti might start to go inward as your eyelids grow heavy. Our last and final back bend of the day might simply be resting where you are. Maybe it's a bridge pose. Maybe it's a wheel. So Terry's demonstrating a wheel. Her hands come by her shoulders, fingers face her heels. And she's experimenting by pressing her chest to the wall behind her. She might experiment by rocking more weight into her feet, by bringing her knees to the wall, and then finding a happy balance in between. Maybe even the legs start to go a little straighter. Wherever you are, 2 more inhales and exhales. And we'll slowly, light as a feather, find the earth. Soles of the feet come together, knees wide. You might adjust your pelvic floor and your pelvis to bring a little bit more space to your low back. We really appreciate you tuning in to this class, and that we've been able to come together during this time and share a practice. In Supta Baddha Konasana, 1 to 2 more cycles of breath. If you feel like you would like a little bit more floor stretching in your practice this morning, I encourage you to move through whatever may come to you as your guide. Otherwise, from here in our Supta Baddha Konasana, we'll just transition into our knee down twist of choice. So Terry's demonstrating extending her left leg long, her right knee crosses over the body, and she gazes over her right shoulder. With your inhale, visualize inhaling through the sole of your feet, all the way up the legs, sort of like a fiery, rippling sensation up the spine, through the neck, and out through the top of the head. And as you exhale, that line of energy travels back down the body to the soles of the feet. Your next exhale, just let go. You'll transition through the center and find your knee down twist in the other direction. Again, losing any attachment that one side has to look and mirror the other exactly. Feeling the currents of energy rippling through the body with each breath. Your next exhale, letting go. And as you come through center, finding any last bit of space and peace in your practice. And because we've done so much back bending in your Shavasana, you might like a blanket roll or pillows under your knees just to bring some relief. To the body, some support, aiding in the last stages of letting go. We leave you here to drift off into this peaceful place, free of suffering, heart filled with compassion and love. enjoying the freedom and the connection with self, with our core being. And through a greater understanding and connection with self, can we help others? You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. If you're ready to begin the journey in returning with full consciousness to the world around you, you'll begin to find your side for fetal pose. I love this part of our yoga practice. We've cultivated such bliss and contentment. And with whatever even minute lesson from our practice, the merits we've cultivated, this is always a wonderful time of rebirth. Slowly making your way up to your seat. Returning to your intention.